Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to the stream. Today is day 30 already of becoming a full stack developer in 8 months. It's been 30 days of streaming, a little bit more in real life, but we've made it to day 30. We haven't given up, we're not going to give up. And today we're doing something pretty interesting. It's the Tic Tac Toe game from the Odin project. Now this is going to be my first time coding on the Mac Mini, so bear with me. And let's, I guess, first go through the introduction and what we actually need to do. Alright, let me check if the audio is all good. I think it seems like it. Alright, so we're making a tic-tac-toe game you can play in your browser. Alright. And the assignment is set up your project with HTML, CSS and JavaScript files and get the Git repo all set up. You're going to store the game board as an array inside of a game board object. So start there. Your players are also going to be stored in objects. And you're probably going to want an object to control the flow of the game itself. Your main goal here is to have as little global code as possible. Try tucking as much as you can inside factories. If you only need a single instance of something, in example the game board, the display controller, etc., then wrap the factory inside an IFE module pattern so it cannot be reused to create additional instances. In this project, think carefully about where each bit of logic should reside. Each little piece of functionality should be able to fit in the game, player or game board objects. Take care to put them in logical places. Spending a little time brainstorming here can make your life much easier later. If you're having trouble building a house from the inside out, it's a great article that lays out a highly applicable example both of how you might approach tackling this project as well as how you might organize and structure your code. Alright, so focus on getting a working game in the console first. Make sure you include logic that checks for when the game is over. You should be checking for all winning 3 in a row rows and ties. Try to avoid thinking about the DOM on your HTML CSS until your game is working. Don't worry about taking user input at this point either. You can call your functions and pass arguments to them to play the game yourself and check if everything is working as intended. Once you have a working console game, create an object that will handle the display DOM logic. Write a function that will render the contents of the game board array to the web page. For now, you can always just fill the game board array with X's and O's. Just see what's going on. Write the functions that allow players to add markers to a specific point on the board by interacting with the appropriate DOM elements. In example, letting players click on a board square to place their marker. Don't forget the logic that keeps players from playing in spots that are already taken. Clean up the interface to allow players to put their names. Include a button to restart the game, and add a display element that shows the results upon game end. So this is quite a bit. And I want to make it even more complicated by adding AI, or you play against the computer, so it will have to think where to actually place its marker, so on and so forth. So I want to do it like that. Let's quickly go through this article because they said it's highly relevant. They even mentioned the Odin project here, so it seems like an interesting article. I just want to zoom in a little bit so we can read it. Alright. Light mode be better. It's kind of the same. Alright, anyway, so building a house from the inside out. written by Alex Younger on March 1st, 2022. Building a house from the inside out, separating view from data using Connect 4. Context. For 2 years, I've been a community member and a contributor of the Odin project, and in my time there I have grown from a help seeker to primarily a help provider. TOP's curriculum features many opportunities to build games, from simple ones like rock, paper, scissors and Tic Tac Toe to more complex ones such as chess and battleship. As a JavaScript developer, much of my learning happened in the browser environment where access to markup and styling is conveniently close at hand. As wonderful as this is for the process of game creation, I have often witnessed the tendency for inexperienced learners to fall into the anti-pattern of interacting with the DOM too freely within their game logic. Before we begin, I want to emphasize two things. Modern applications are built in various ways depending on scale, scope, requirements, technological restrictions, etc. This article is not intended to teach about application design, nor to provide a one-size-fits-all methodology to building any web app. Its intent is to teach good practices for separating state logic from the UI controls within the context of vanilla JavaScript. This is not a code along. I'll be creating a game as an example of how to implement this separation of concerns, but it's not expected for you to build it along with me. However, for further learning, I'll include a few practice assignments to help you apply the concepts learned here that you can do by forking the replit. Okay, so imagine the outside. They say pretend for a moment that building a game application is something like building a house. Imagine your dream house and what it looks like in its final form. You're probably imagining all the elements of the house that are supposed to be seen from the outside and enjoyed aesthetically. The outside of the house painted to your liking, decorations, the front yard, a charming front door. As you move inside, each room looks like it came straight from HGTV, brand new appliances, furniture, etc. But what about the structural elements of the house? Of course, we appreciate those things too, but we don't often think about them because their implementation is hidden from our view in the final product. However, behind each wall in our house, we can trust there is a sturdy frame above the ceiling and below the floors. We trust there are joints and beams designed to keep the house standing. Underneath the house, we put all of our faith in the foundation, which is responsible for holding everything else in place. Behind each exterior element, there is an interior support structure. In the same way, our application's user interface should be a visual representation of underlying application logic. In other words, behind everything that makes our game look and feel nice, there should be solid foundational code. That makes sense, alright. Build from the inside. It's easy to focus on the visual interactable elements of a project, just like it's easy to imagine how a house will look from the outside when we dream of building one. But just like a builder would first consider the structural design and blueprints of a house before beginning to imagine walls, doors, and windows, let's attempt to think through how our application is going to function and its core before implementing details in the user interface. A builder would never construct a wall that had no frame to support it. It is not the responsibility of drywall or plaster to support the weight of a house, nor by itself provide a sturdy barrier between rooms. Similarly, our DOM elements and queries should not be responsible for storing or handling the implementation details of how our application works. That is not their responsibility, not what they were designed to do. They shouldn't be concerned with storing details on the state of our game, nor handling the logic our game requires to function correctly. Instead, the DOM should be responsible for reading and displaying the application state to the user and providing an easy way to use gateway to interact with the methods it needs to. For example, if I'm making a game, my UI should have access to a method it needs to use in order to play around. This method should be simple to call and as restrictive as possible, meaning it should not need to provide a multitude of arguments to do something. Conversely, the DOM probably doesn't need access to a way of changing which player's turn it is. Instead, it should be able to read whose turn it is and as it changes every round. This is an important distinction and one I hope to further illustrate later. How about an example? Okay, sure, I'm going to build a simple Connect 4 game. As you read, take some time to understand what the code is doing and try to draw your own conclusions for how to implement what you've learned into the future projects. My hope is that this article can be helpful for learners in many stages of their journey, so I'll do my best to provide comments in the code to explain each chunk. Do I have water here? I do a little bit. Okay. They say foundation and framing. One great strategy to help keep game logic separate from your UI is to challenge yourself to build the game so that it can be played in full in the console, not by needing to rely on a UI. You can be sure that your code has integrity and not concerning itself with what the browser window is showing. Here is my console version of Connect 4. Once again, take some time to digest the code and learn what each piece is doing. So let's check the replit and do I open the console here? Wait, let me put this to full screen so you can actually see it better. I'm not sure if there is a way to run it except for forking it and putting it in your own browser, which I guess we can do. Let's see how that works. We'll continue with GitHub. Username. Let me just walk it off screen. Oops, sorry. Alright, I mean, I think we haven't committed in a while to GitHub. Let me see how we fork it. Oops, wait. This has to be a separate window. Are you making a project? Welcome RizG to the stream. Yes, we're making a Tic Tac Toe game, or at least we're trying to. Please walk to with another method and link GitHub from the account page. Oh my god. But yeah, we're making the Tic Tac Toe game, or at least we're trying. We'll see how far we get. How the fuck do I fork this? It's asking me to pay for that. You have to be kidding me. It asked me to pay. Alright, so something else I'll do is I'll open a folder. What is this folder? Users. We can make a new folder in here. Type it code. Alright, this is alright, sure. Yes, I trust the authors, I am the authors. Not a new folder, my guy, sorry. We'll make a new file, index.html. We're just going to try the code from this guy. styles.css and script.js. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit so you can see it as well. This little bit too much. What is the wardrobe? View wardrobe. Okay. Link, not a y. Link style.css, and we're going to add script src script.js. Alright, so this should work, and let's go live with that. So we have the live window. I'll put it on the side, open up the console, and let's see what we get. Failed to load resources, it's okay, don't worry about it. Now the replit, it's not in here, it's on my other monitor, no. Where did that go? There you go, sorry. Alright, copy this. I actually didn't need to write it out, I could have just copied it, it's fine. Copy this into the script. It asked me to pay for that, so I'm just copying it. No styles, alright, no styles. I didn't need the styles. Okay, cancel. So now player one's turn. Alright, so let's see how to actually play this game that they wrote. We don't need a style, so let's see. The game board represents the state of the board. Each square holds a cell defined later, and we expose a, let me toggle wardrobe again. And we expose a drop token method to be able to add cells to squares. This is the game board, so it has 6 rows, 7 columns, and const board. This is a function that is it holding everything? No, where does that end, that function? Yeah, it's I'm not sure it's holding everything. No, it ends here. Okay. So we return board, drop token, and print board. Let's read through the comment. There are a lot of comments to actually understand how that works. So they're saying create a 2D array that will represent the state of the game board. For this 2D array, row 0 will represent the top row, and column 0 will represent the leftmost column. The nested loop technique is a simple and common way to create a 2D array. Alright, so we already know about that. And then we push cell. What is that cell? Is that like a function? Yeah. So cell, a cell represents one square on the board and can have one of. So 0, no token is in the square. Player 1's token, player 2's token. So this is very relevant to our Tic Tac Toe games, because there we actually have to measure the state of the game as well. So this is a good way of doing that, meaning you cannot put your marker where there already is a marker for the opposite player, for example, or for your player. You can only play a marker where there is a 0, let's say. And accept player's token to change the value of the cell. Let value 0. How we retrieve the current value of this cell through closure, so we'll get value. We can do cell add token and get value. Alright, so let's continue reading. This will be the method of getting the entire board that our UI will eventually need to render. Const get board, it will return the board. Okay. Now onboard is just an array, a 2D array. Okay. In order, this is the board, as you can see. It has 6 rows and 7 columns. 4, 5, 6, yeah, 7. And as you can see, it's all zeros at the moment, or I actually have to zoom it a little bit. Yep, it's all zeros at the moment, so there are no tokens placed. Alright, in order to drop a token, we need to find what the lowest point of the selected column is, then change that cell's value to the player number. Drop token, we have column and player, so our board's outermost array represents the row, so that we need to loop through the rows starting at row 0, find all the rows that don't have a token, then take the last one, which will represent the bottommost empty cell. I'm gonna need a minute to understand this probably. So, drop token, okay, inside of a drop token, const available cells board filter row. Where is the row defined? Then a row function, row column, get value. Our board's outermost array represents the row. It represents the row, okay. So we need to loop through the rows, or loop through the rows. This is the row, this is the row, this is the row. Starting at row 0, okay. Loop through these ones. Find all the rows that don't have a token. Then take the last one, which will represent the bottommost empty cell. But I guess you have to do it only for the column that the player chose. Isn't that the case? Available cells equals board filter row. So for each row that's of this column, loop through them. So for example, if the markers are up to here, so it will loop through this one, this one, this one, this one, and when they're the last one, it will make it the row that we need to add a token to, but if no cells make it through the filter, the move is invalid, stop execution. If no cells make it through the filter, const available cells, so this will be like a array. Is that an array? Yep. Otherwise, I have a valid cell, the last one in the filtered array. So valid cell, the last one in the filtered array, lowest row available cell. So this will give you the lowest row that's available. Board, lowest row, column, add token, player. First is the rows. First he's making the rows, and then the columns. So row starts like that, then like that, then like that, then like that. So first you go to the row and then the column at token player. Okay, so maybe we can try this. If we say drop token and we say column, which column? Let's say 3, and then player 1. Oops, sorry, there is no player 1, right? Drop token is not defined. Do you have to make a board first? No, we already have one. Player 1's turn. It's already player 1's turn. So is it something like, wait, cons game king controller? Is it board dot drop token? And we do, oh, you cannot see it. Let me shut down my camera for a second. Is it row 3 and then player 1? Let's see. Board is not defined. That's interesting. How come board is not defined? What is this then? Alright, I guess let's just continue reading through it and then we'll figure it out. But this game is, I think, more advanced than the Tic Tac Toe. The Tic Tac Toe will get more advanced, I think, where we add the AI logic. But so, print board. This method will be used to print our board to the console. It is helpful to see what the board looks like after each turn as we play, but we won't need it after we build our UI. So it is helpful to see what the board looks like after each turn we play. Board with cell values equals board.map row map cell get value. So it just refreshes like the board, gives us the last version of it. Here we provide an interface for the rest of our application to interact with the board. So we have get board, drop token, and print board. A cell represents 1 square, so we already read through that. The game controller will be responsible for controlling the flow and state of the game's turns, as well as whether anybody has won the game. So you have player 1 name, player 2 names, player 1 and player 2, cons board is game board, cons player's name, player 1 name, token 1. Let active player is player 1, so switch player turn active player equals active player. These ones with the question mark I don't fully get yet. Okay, print new round, console walk. Alright, so we're already at that print new round because it printed the board, but then if it's printed the board, console dot walk board. Why is their board not defined if he printed board? He exactly did that. He did board dot print board, and we say board is not defined. Play around, column, drop a token for the current player. Dropping active player's name token into column. Alright, board drop token. So you just you don't have to specify the active player, you just have to specify the column. This is where we would check for a winner handle. Okay, switch player turn, initial play game message, print new round. For the console version, we'll only use play around, but we'll need get active user for the UI version, so I'm revealing it now. And cons game, is it? Oops. Console.org. Alright, so we have a game and we can do play around. Let's try. So game.play, oops, refresh it, sorry about that. So let me remove my head and I'll make it just a bit smaller, and we can do game.play around, and we just have to specify the column, which let's say column 3, dropping player 1's token into column 3, player 2's turn. So as you can see, we have a 1 now. So we can do the same, and this time, since it was player 2 turns, it will drop a 2 above player 1. And we can go on and on. Let's say for player 1, let's try to win the game. Here actually it's doing an index, so it's not into column 3, but it was column 4. In real life, to get column 3, we have to say 2. There you go, we have 2 now. We can do the same thing. And let's try 1 again, and this will be the winning round. So actually we do have a win here because we've connected 4, but it's still waiting for player 2's turn, and it seems like you cannot win the game still, but it is very playable. I see the logic, the foundational logic and how it's handled. Indeed, this is great for our Tic Tac Toe game. But let's continue reading through the article. Where did that article go? There you go. Okay. Let me put my camera on. And we can continue reading through it. I don't want that thing on the side. Okay. Wait. How about an example? Alright, so we've gone through the example, console edition. You may notice that I did not implement win conditions. This logic, while important to the core game, was not important in getting the point of this article across. However, it will be part of the optional practice assignments later for you to implement if you choose. Okay, sure. Now that our house is framed, it's worth noting at this point that the beauty of decoupled code is that changing the implementation of any of the submodules will not require us to rewrite the whole program. Say for instance we wanted to create a version for where the rows filled from top down. We'd need to change the game board of token method details, and the rest of the game would still run as intended. Let's put the walls on. Now it's time to add the view aspect of our game. Take a moment to understand that the only way the UI should need to interact with the core game code in order to play around is through the game controller play around method. Remember how I said the method to play should be simple. The method to play should be simple to call and as restrictive as possible. This is what I mean. We've constructed our game to have very limited interface, and in doing so made it very easy to interact with the form from the outside. For the visual representation of the game, I'm going to create one more module called screen controller. This module will leverage an update screen pattern. The purpose of this pattern is to create some data about our game, such as the state of the game board, on which player turn is it, and update the screen each time player takes their turn. For the purpose of simplicity, I'm going to make my styles very basic and just have the board show each cell's value instead of a token color. Also note that I'll be removing all previous comments from the console version shown earlier, so as to keep the script file shorter. Here is the replit of the game with an HTML and CSS skeleton. So again, I don't know if you'll be able to open that. Let's just copy again the JavaScript. Hi, what are you learning? Sorry, material developer, I didn't saw the comment. But we're trying to build a Tic Tac Toe game, and this article is giving us a lot of insight on how to handle the game logic, so on and so forth. So it's a good read, and it's just good to understand the logic behind their Connect 4 game for our Tic Tac Toe one. So I'm just going through the examples that they're showing at the moment, and let's see if we'll get anything. Refuse to apply the style from because it's MIME type. Was there? There also was HTML, I guess. No? It seems the same. Wait, it's not the same. Okay. Anything else? Let me copy them again, because I'm not sure what I copied and what I didn't. Okay, and this one should be copied. Save it, and it's still not working. Wait, I have to save the other things as well. Okay. That's interesting. Maybe it's meant to be full screen. Not really. Alright, so I guess it's made to be a small screen. And is that it? 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, and 7 columns. Yeah. Alright, so does it matter where we click? No, just going to fall. Okay, so player to turn, we just have to click on the right column. Alright, and we can play Connect 4. I don't know how well you see it. But yeah, just dropping the numbers of player 1 and player 2. So by clicking on the column, you drop your token into this column. And let's take a look at the HTML. It's not this one, it's this one. So you have a container, the turn, okay, and the board. Pretty simple. The styles, we're not going to look at them, we don't really bother. Let's see what is different. I guess they added comments to everything that's different, which is nice. This where we'll check for a winner and handle that logic, okay. So screen controller, and did they do anything else? Screen controller, do they still have the game controller? Yep, they have game controller. And from the screen controller they're initializing a game before, if you can see, wait, let me make this a little bit smaller. Before, as you can see, they screen controller, yeah, there. So they just had the game controller, which is, what is it? play around, return player, so on and so forth. There you go, game controller. And outside of it, they made const game controller. This time, when they do that, it's inside of the screen controller. So they make const game as well, but this inside the screen controller, and they call the screen controller at the end. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit. They have game, player turn def, document.query selector turn, board.def, so they're selecting the heading at the top and the board. Update screen. We have clear the board if text content to nothing. Okay. Get the newest version of the board and player turn board game. Board equals game.getBoard. Active player game.get active player. So they're getting off that from the game that is made from the game controller. Okay. And display player's turn. So they're just interacting with the game controller, it seems like, and updating the DOM elements based on the states of the game controller. Board for each. Anything clickable should be a button. Okay. Add event listener for the board. Sure. So I kind of have a bare idea of how we're going to structure everything. I'm not going to bother with that anymore, so I'm just going to close them. I'm going to close VS Studio as well because we're going to create a new project. Don't save. So let's go into GitHub and let's make a new repository. Since when we haven't been committing to GitHub? Oh yeah, it's not looking too well. No worries. New repository. We'll make it Tic Tac Toe JS and create repository. So let's see how this works on Mac now, because I haven't done this on Mac still. We open up the terminal, I guess. Terminal. And Mac Mini. Alright, we don't have a repos folder in here. But we can make dir repos. cd into a repos. And then we can git. Or do I have to install Git? Wait. No developer tools were found. Requesting install. If developer tools are located, alright. Git command requires command line developer tools. Yup, install this. Let's see. I told you I haven't done this on the Mac yet. I have bought an SSD for the Mac, and I have to reinstall it and put all my data on the SSD because I only got the 256GB one, but I'm waiting for that to arrive. So I'll have to do all of this again, but it's fine. My back hurts, probably from today's workout. How are you guys? Are you doing well on, is it Saturday? Yes, on Saturday. It says 9 minutes. I sure hope it doesn't take 9 minutes. Okay. I think it really will take 7 minutes. Maybe we can watch a quick video until that downloads. Do you have anything interesting here? How to study programming the right way. Let's see that. Let's just watch a quick video until that downloads, because it seems like it's going to take a bit of time. Can I minimize this? Wow. Wait.
Enjoy coding. This video is sponsored by Brilliant. Imagine if you could study programming so effectively that even in a job market like this, you could still land a job and actually enjoy coding. I want that for you. So I've put all my experience, research, and painful mistakes into a formula that you can actually use. And spoiler alert, you might want to take some notes, because we're going to go way deeper than just syntax errors or basic to-do apps. Because let's be real, you already know all of that, and you deserve a lot more.
Okay.
You see, the way you approach programming can leave you with a 6-figure salary and everything you've ever wanted, or it can leave you with countless hours wasted and broken dreams. And to figure out why, let's look at this.
Do not apply without a referral. Trust me, you will be shooting yourself in the...
This is Sajad, and he got his first software engineering internship at Amazon with a referral. So that must mean it doesn't matter how you program, you just have to know the right people, right? Well, slow down. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is connections matter, but they're not the whole picture. Because when you do get an opportunity, what matters just as much, if not more, is your skill set. And that's what we're here to build. So how do we get you from I kind of know how to code to I can actually use code to solve real problems? Look, it's easy to get caught up in learning syntax and completing tutorials, which, don't get me wrong, are really important at first, but the biggest progress happens when you start applying what you learn to solve actual problems. So pick projects that challenge you. For example, you can build a tool that fills a personal need, or you can even try and automate something in your life. This will teach you to think like a developer, not just someone who knows a programming language. Think of it this way. Let's say you're learning how to play the guitar. If you just memorize each chord by itself, sure, you know those chords, but the music won't make any sense until you understand how the chords form a song. And programming is really similar. The code you're writing is the tool, but understanding why and when to use it, that's what actually makes it useful. It's about getting to a point where you're not just writing code, you're actually using code to solve real problems. Okay, but you've probably heard that a million times. Everyone knows you have to do project-based learning, but there's actually one more crucial thing you need to do if you really want to land a job or an internship at a specific company. And this is especially important if you're not sure what projects to build. Okay, let's say the reason you're studying programming is to land a job at a company like Meta, for example. If that's the case, you don't want to just build any projects. You want to build something that shows you understand Meta, like their tech stack, their products, and the kind of challenges they face. And the reason for this is to prove that you can think like someone who already works there. For example, if Meta uses React heavily, try building a project using React that focuses on something Meta might value. And to be honest, when I was studying programming, I actually really messed up on this step, because I was applying project-based learning, but I built a lot of projects that were completely different from each other. And I've spoken to Google engineers and recruiters, and one of the main pieces of resume advice they've given is to have projects that let recruiters know about you without needing to explicitly state it. Think of it like building your own personal brand as a developer. If your projects are scattered across different fields, it's hard for anyone to understand what you're really good at or where you're aiming to go. But if you focus and really understand one sector, like data science projects, AI, or full stack development, not only will it help you stand out, it'll also demonstrate a level of commitment and expertise, which is exactly what companies are looking for. Look, there's a problem with programmers today, and in order to understand it, I want you to take a look at this.
And it was so weird, because it wasn't like they were completely dumb. When it came time to writing basic code, they would make the most trivial errors. That's why I think you should focus more on the basics. Get really, really good at the basics.
This is Neatcode. He's a previous
We're getting good at the basics
and
today.
What he's saying is that people often try and learn really complicated concepts without first learning the basics. And you can imagine that this leaves them with no real deep knowledge of anything. This is actually something I've noticed everywhere, and it's what's holding a lot of people back as programmers. You see, here's the thing. Now more than than ever, it's tempting to jump right into these advanced things like machine learning or building full stack web apps. And chances are you probably think you need something like this to put on your resume right away, which is a trap that a lot of programmers fall into. Because by skipping over the fundamentals in a rush to get to all the cool stuff, you end up becoming someone who constantly relies on AI or Stack Overflow for every little roadblock. And this is because you don't fully understand the code you write. And I've seen this over and over again. When people don't have a deep foundation, they get lost the second they face a new problem or don't have a tutorial to follow. Okay, so how can we actually learn? Well, you need to make sure that you really understand the basics. Really understand and practice with different data structures, loops, variables, and things that you might often overlook. I like to think of learning as going to the gym. You have to be really consistent and improve little by little. This way, when you finally get to the advanced topics, they'll not only be easier, but actually meaningful. And one last tip I'll give on this subject, if you really want to learn effectively, you need to have active engagement. So basically, when you're studying something new, don't just passively read or watch tutorials. Challenge yourself to rephrase the concepts in your own words, or maybe even teach them to someone else. And the best form of active engagement that's worked for me is to try and apply concepts in a small project. This way, your brain will actually form some sort of reasoning and memory in these concepts, instead of just mindlessly reading or watching tutorials.
Представи си бъдеще, което твоето дете никога не трябва да се притеснява за
Sorry
финансите.
guys.
Може би ти звучи странно.
As somebody studying programming, you can't rely on anything. And that'll make more sense when we take a look at this.
Math, automata theory, operating system.
Holy shit.
Not what I wanted to do. I just wanted to program games and websites. I wanted to make my own Minecraft mod. So what I learned the hard way is computer science is not software engineering.
This is the coding slot, and what he's saying is completely right. The study of computer science is extremely theoretical, and the time that you do get to code will be spent using some outdated language or something that you're completely uninterested in. And not only that, but sitting in lectures is a method proven to be ineffective when studying programming. So that begs the question, how can we learn the skills that can actually have an impact for us? And this is why I use today's sponsor, Brilliant. Brilliant is a learning platform where you learn by doing. With thousands of interactive lessons in math, data analysis, programming, and AI, Brilliant is
Right.
Caltech do topics. You'll also be becoming a better lessons you can do when everything real. You can also learn the essential
Oh,
code.
that was the whole video, okay. Sure. That thing installed, as you can see, so done. And can we now use the git command? Yep, seems like it. Are you sure you want to continue? Wait. Maybe I'll have to log in here, so this key is not known. Did I just leak something? Wait. I think I leaked the key on stream, but wait, let me ask ChatGPT how bad that is. So it's a public key. Alright. Alright, sure. It's okay. So can we seed into Tic Tac Toe JS and code dot, sorry, it's not on stream. How do you open VS Code on Mac with terminal? Typing code after adding it to the path. Alright, so code. They say this command is not recognized. So what are people saying? Make sure you drag the Visual Studio Code application into the applications folder. Yeah, I don't think I've done that, so let me go ahead and do that actually. So there you go, applications. This should work, right? Oh no. There you go. Let me try now. Still doesn't work. Do you have VS Code in here? VS. Yep, I have it now. Next, open Visual Studio Code. They want me to open it. I have it open. On the command palette, what is it? Command Shift P and type shell command install code. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Okay, so code dot. There you go. Yep, I trust the authors. Thank you so much. Yeah, I can now actually begin, but wait, let me do the initial file. So we'll do the index.html and we'll do the JavaScript. For now, we'll leave the CSS out because we're not going to need it until we make the game working, which can take some time. So we're just going to script.js, add that, go live with the server. Go live, or we already have one. I don't think so. Why can't we go live? It's starting. Okay, sure. So now we can have them side by side and we're almost ready to begin. Before that, I'm just going to take a quick break. So 10-minute timer. Oops. 10-minute timer and I'll see you guys in a bit. I'm just taking a quick break. Be right back. Alright. So the fun part begins. I'm back. Sorry it took a little too long, I just had something to eat. Supreme Overworld, welcome to the stream, my brother, how are you? Looks like you're working on the Tic Tac Toe project. I started working on the rock, paper, scissors project. That thing got me thinking I need a break. Indeed. The Tic Tac, the rock, paper, scissors, just a second. The rock, paper, scissors wasn't that hard because every time the computer will give you a random choice. So it will just pick one number from an array, let's say. From 0, 1 and 2 it will pick one number every time, and this is the player's choice. This time around, since I'm doing the tic-tac-toe, it has to and I want to implement like an AI, so the computer will play against the computer. I think the actual project is just player versus player, so it will take turns. You can place one square here and it will say it's player 2 turns, and then you can place another square. But I want to make it so you play against the computer, and this way the computer will have to like think where to place it. It will to connect like 3 to win the tic-tac-toe. So this will be a lot more challenging. I have no idea how I'm going to do it currently, but we'll see. We've just set up the basic project, and since we're doing it in the console, I can do that. We only need this section of it, so we can make the window very tiny and then something like that, so we can see more of the code. There, I think that's okay. So let's actually read through it once again. Set up your project already. So we've done that already. We're on step 2. Wait, actually, let me get my nasal spray because I cannot talk. I'll be right back. Just a second. Alright, I'm back. You're saying I've managed to make the computer generate randomly either rock, paper or scissors, and I have been able to capture the user's choice, but the next parts are what I'm still struggling with. I'm going to sneeze. So you mean like who wins the game and counting the score, displaying the winners, so stuff like that? Is that what you're struggling with? Alright. You're going to store the game board as an array inside of a game board object, so start there. So we need to start with our game board object. And I guess this is going to be a factory function. But since we need only once, maybe an ify, we'll see. Your players are also going to be stored in object. And you're probably going to want an object to control the flow of the game itself. Alright, so we have game controller, we'll have player object, you have, wait, I want it player, and we have to zoom this in a little bit probably, and also we'll have game board. So game board. Alright. Your main goal here is to have as little global code as possible. Try taking as much as you can inside factories. If you only need a single instance of something, in example the game board, the display controller, etc., then wrap the factory inside an IFI module pattern, so it cannot be reused to create additional instances. Right. In this project, think carefully about where each project should go. Okay. Let me just see something one more time, since I forgot how to do it already. So in the script, it's just function game board. Alright. Did he wrap that in an IFI? I don't think so. Alright, we'll see how we're going to do that. But a function, this is the part I'm currently struggling with. Alright, so don't worry, take a break and you'll figure it out. Function game, do we have to game board? What we have inside of there? Let's make the player as well. Function player, and function game controller. And let's think about it for a second. What goes inside of where? So the game board will have the board, which is going to be an array. How do you wrap that in an IFI again? IFI.js. Function. So like this, and then like that. Is that it? Yeah, I think so. So have a board and game board. The players, I guess, will have a name and a marker. And to give them the name equals, wait, like that, and let marker equals marker, or marker. Let's just do it like that for now, and we'll see if we need to optimize it. Game controller, I guess we'll think about this in a little bit. let's try to make the board if you want. So udo for loop I equals 0, and we need 6 rows and 7 columns, and we're starting from the rows. So until I is less than 6, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. I post. Do we also need columns? Do we also need the rows and columns? Probably have to do const. Let's see. Yeah, I think we also need the rows and columns. So const rows and const columns. Alright. Then what we do is we have to add for the board, we do board we have to add a row, and we do board row I, I haven't done this in a while to the array, or to the like, yeah. So we have a board and we have to fill it with rows and columns. We first fill it with rows, okay. The rows, columns decoration must be initialized. Let's make them let for now, if that's going to get rid of the error. Let. Maybe we have to also make these arrays. It seems to be the case. Maybe I'm wrong, we'll see. So let's console log this for now. Wait. And call game board. Will this work? Name has already been declared at 13. Alright, we'll take care of this as well. We have undefined game board is not defined. We have to make const board equals game board. This saying game board is not defined. Is that because it's inside of an ify? Oops, nope. Yeah, seems to be the case. Alright, can we then console.walk board? Cannot access board, it's board. We have an empty array. So we actually have to wait. Board I equals 0. So we do have now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We do have one row. That's actually a column, to be quite honest with you. And they start with the row somehow, I think. But let's try to make a nested loop. So for j equals 0 and until j is, so we need 7 columns, I believe. That's easily fixable, so I'll just do it like that. 7 and then j plus plus. And then board will be I and then j equals 0. Maybe we can remove this one then. Let me see, save it. Cannot set properties of undefined. Where did we set properties of undefined? Line 9. We almost had it. What if we change this to 1? Yeah, so those doesn't matter. It had to be something like this, but wait. Can we do that? Nope, missing initializer. If we do let, cannot set properties of undefined. So yeah, we cannot do that. Can we do it like that then? No. Let's think about it. I don't want to look online. This is the struggle. I want to figure it out on my own somehow. Can we do I, J? Nope. Alright, so what if we make the rows? Wait. So for each board I, which is like this, we want to set a row. We actually want to set a column there, I think, but if you're told to create a variable within the global scope, does the variable go within the function or outside the function? I'm not sure which function you're talking about, but outside, if it's global, it means that every function should be able to access it. If you have like a global function that's wrapping everything, then it may go there, but considering that you won't have any functions outside of that main function. A global variable is just like this const board. So this const board can be called, oh wait, I'm doing const board 2 times. No worries, anyways, we'll deal with it. But yeah, this board right here can be called inside of this function, but this board that is inside of the game board function cannot be called outside of it. So a global variable just means it is outside, so it can be called from anywhere, or at least that's my understanding of it. Can we do game board? So there is just a little bit of a distinction there. Game board. Thank you. Yeah, no worries, man. J. So for board, I want to equal to rows. Can we do that? And this one to columns. So we kind of have something like it, but not really. Equal to rows. We want to define the rows first. If we comment this out, what do we get? So we have an array. Okay, so let's say these are the rows indeed. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows, and inside of each row we want, so inside of this array, inside of this we want to make 7 columns. So to do that, can we do board I equal rows, and then for the columns we need to do, can we do rows rows j equal to columns. So we I think we do have it. Let me wait, this is not going to work, right? If we do it like that. No, it's not working. That's fine. We kind of had it. Equals, can we do 0? Will that work? So there you go. So now we have the 2D array, and we have 6 rows and 7 columns. So I think, what am I doing actually? Like, I'm making a Tic Tac Toe game, and I'm trying to do the connect for that we just read about. So we actually don't need that, but that's fine. We'll just make it 3 by 3 and it should work. But I just figured I'm not trying to make a connect for, I'm making a Tic Tac Toe. So there you go. This is the Tic Tac Toe, and this is the board. Instead of console lognet we can return it, but return board, and instead of this console log, wait, let me copy that, cut it, and we can instead console.log game board, and we have the same thing, but it's outside, and this will be like our visual controller next on, but as of right now we can leave it like that. The game board looks fine. I just don't know if we have to add anything else. Just a second. Alright. Do we have to do anything else to that? I'm not sure. We should be able to get the board actually, so not return the board, but have a function that gets the board, I think. So we can actually wait. We can actually do function get board and then do, what was it, like that, an arrow function that will return the board. Or we don't need the equals. No, how was that done? How was that done? I don't remember. Function get board. JavaScript getter function. I cannot see shit. Let me ask. Const get, sure, Jordan, thank you so much, my guy. We have it's not a function, it's a const. Alright, so const get board, and then we don't put the function in here, we just put an equals and then the function. Thank you so much, my guy, Jordan, thank you so much. So actually we can return get board and not the board itself. Would this still work? No, I don't think so. We can console walk game board dot get board now. No. Alright. Return get board. Wait, why is that actually not working at the moment? Because game board dot get board. This is undefined. Game board. wait. Const. I don't think it's returning the right thing. Maybe it is, but seems like a. Wait. Yeah, I think I'm going to ask the GPT. Wait, ChatGPT. Is that a right way of writing a get function inside a factory in JS? What number project is this, by the way? You said I'm missing. Wait, so like that? No. Get board. I'm not sure what I'm missing, bro. Oh, sure. But actually, wait, not game board, but get board. No. GameBoard.getBoard is not a function. I think because these are the same. And this is board actually. Board. Already declared, yeah. So we'll do. Are you coding Tic Tac Toe? Yes. Yes, I am, but I'm not sure which project that is. It's in the JavaScript course, the fullstack JavaScript course, and I think it's project number 2 there, but I'm not sure. Wait now. How do we call that? Can we call it just game for now? And we do game.getBoard. No. You either return getBoard or you do this. I either return getBoard. You mean return the function. And if we do game, no. So this works. Right. Game dot. What if we do game dot getBoard? It's not a function, alright. GetBoard. It's undefined, but we can just call the whole game and that works. Is that right now? GameBoard function const game. Key points an arrow function. Let me just is that correct now. Your GameBoard function has a logic issue in how you are creating and initializing the board. Specifically, you're repeatedly assigning the same rows. We haven't done the for loop correctly. You're assigning the same rows array to each index of the board, meaning all rows in the board will reference the same array in memory. This results in unintended behavior when you modify one row. Here's how to fix it. Okay. That makes sense. Let's look at it. Corrected game board. So they have for the for loop with the I, then const row is inside of it. Create a new row for each interaction. Sure. For each iteration, not each interaction. Sorry. So we can actually remove this and put it inside of the loop. And we make it row, not rows. And then we do row G. And we don't need this one. But this way we don't set wait. Then after this we set board I equals row. The const getBoard is the same. Alright, we return the getBoard function. Const game equals GameBoard. Alright, so it's all the same from there on. And this now should work, and we have separate rows that are actually legit and not the same one pasted over and over. Okay, sure. So we do have now the board itself. Let me just check what else. Your main goes here. Try taking game board, the display controller will handle later. Factory function model pattern. So we do need the factory function for the players and one for the game controller, but for the players what do we need? Is it just the name and the marker? Let's give that a try. Let's see how that works. We'll make const player1 with player, which will be p1, let's say, and then we'll put an O. We'll make the same for player 2. So we can have player 2 and an X. And what do we actually want from those players? We have to assign them to the game controller, that's okay. Actually, the game controller will have the players and the board assigned inside of it, but then do we have to return anything from that? Let cons, let row. I'm not sure if we have to return anything from the player function. Let's try working on the game controller, because we'll need something like game dot, or what, how would we actually like make player 1, for example, put an O into the middle cell. So how would we do that? Does that have to be logic on the game controller or on the player? Because I think that should be done inside the game controller, but should be a function of the player, because we can then do, we can control the game inside of the game controller and not inside the player, but we should make the player be able to put its mark wherever on the screen. And in order to do that, well, let me think about it. Because in real life you have player 1, for example, clicking on the screen. So he'll click on the screen to put its mark, and what will happen on the back end? What will happen on the back end? So he'll click on the screen, and where do we handle that logic? That player 1 wants to set his mark on the middle right here of the Tic Tac Toe board. The player itself, he doesn't have access to the board. Maybe inside of the game controller, because then we can say have all that initialized inside of there, inside of the game controller, because they said try to put everything in their factories. So the game controller is where you make the actual board and the players. We'll console game after that, or wait, would that work? Would this work? No. Name has already been declared at 21. Name has already been declared. Is it this dot name? Game is not defined. That's fine. This is because we need to walk it inside of the controller, but we were able to spot an error. Oops. Console.walk game. So that doesn't work now. Player. Because we don't call game controller anywhere. Game controller, controller. Game controller. P1 is not defined. Wait, so maybe it wasn't an error. Let name in the file name has already been declared at 21. And the previous error was what? It was P1 is not defined. Comes player 1. Alright, so this is how you write a factory function, and in order to use this, I think I have to put new inside of here. Was it capital? Unexpected. No, anyways. The console one is harder to implement, though Tic Tac Toe is just one big conditional. Just check the win condition of diagonals, columns and rows. Right. They told us to do it in the console first though. That's why I'm doing it in the console. We actually read like a whole article about making things in the console first and then doing the UI, because oh shit, my camera is kind of dirty, I'll fix it. Because the UI should be like separate from the logic, and you should implement it only after your fundamentals is like completely done, when you have like a working game. So yeah, I think the console one is harder to implement. I'm not sure, because you have like the same methods. When we build the UI, it will just have one more controller, the visual controller, where you can actually interact with the cells and so on. But anything else should stay the same, and so I don't actually think it would be harder to implement. I think I just suck at coding, and that's why it's taking me so long. But yeah. We have game board. Alright, P1 is not defined. Why is P1 not defined now? Let name. Actually, those are going to be constants. So const marker and const name. For each object, they're not going to change. Name has already been declared. So 21. You mean this has to be like player name? Is that it? Player name and player marker. P1 is not defined. Is it because it's not in? It's not a string. Is that it? Wait. Yeah, I think that was it. It was just not a string. Can we do name then and marker once again? Nope. Alright, player name, player marker, sure. We'll leave it at that, and now inside the game controller we have the game and we have two players. So let's try to implement some logic that, for example, player 1 wants to put his mark on the board. Game dot maybe wait. Const game equals game controller, and this has to be board. Sorry, but it just makes no sense to call the game board the game. So we'll choose the board and then so that works. But if you think about it, I think this logic should be inside the game controller, because you should be able to say like game dot put mark, for example, and then as arguments you take the player whose mark you want to place, and where exactly to place it on the board. So I think it should be done inside the game controller, and that should be like a function you can use. So let's say we have a function that will be put mark, and we'll take in as arguments the player and now how do we take column and row? Since when do we have a Mac? Since a couple of days. It's the M4 Mac Mini. I'm still not used to it. So we have put a mark, we'll take the player, and then how do we say exactly where we want the mark to be? Can we say like row 2 column 2? What will this give us? Or actually, if we take the indexes, it will be so we'll just take a row at index 1 and that column at index 1 as well. So it will be something like board and then a row and then column. We don't use columns anywhere. Columns is declared, but its value is never read. Board I equals row. I think I'm gonna need some help. Demand propaganda works, I guess. I didn't know this was your account. Alright. He actually didn't tell me to buy it. I liked it because it was cheap. So wait, this is not correct because we also need to use the columns to be able to put precise like board, row and column. Let me open that chat again. How do I redefine the nested loop to be then able to use exact coordinates like board I and then G. And it's easier because with my iPhone I cannot transfer files to my PC is just a pain in the ass. This I can just airdrop it. To ensure you can directly use the exact coordinate like board IG. Sorry, I wanted to make rows and columns. Can we delete that? Can we use a row and column instead? Okay, send it. To allow easy access to specific coordinates like board, row, and column, the nested loop logic remains the same as in the corrected code. You already have the correct structure where board is a 2D array and you can access elements directly using row and column. Here is an explanation and example to show you how this works. The board is a 2D array refers to the cell at row I and column J, and that's alright, but get cell. Set cell, get cell. I think we actually needed to implement this into. I kind of cheated because I should have figured this on my own, but I already looked at it. But for the game board, not only we should return the get board, but we should also return the get cell and set cell, because then we can pass the set cell to the game controller here, and we can say player 1 get his mark and whatever, and just call set cell and cell we want at row and column. Alright, so without looking too much at this, let me just figure out how I'm going to do it. Just a second. Let me close this out. I have to take a quick break. I'll be right back. Sorry, just something popped up. I'll take 10 minutes and be right back. Sorry guys, be right back. Alright, sorry, I'm back. It was a little bit unexpected, but I am back. We can continue. So we figured that inside of the game board we should be able to get cell and set cell. Const get cell and wait, actually, so we'll figure out how to do it, and also do const set cell. So for the get cell we have to return like return this, but to our specific board I and J. So in order to get it, can we just do that? Can we do board board I'm not sure that will work. We actually have to set in the arguments because we want to get a specific cell and not just like any cell, or so we actually have to pass it in the arguments. And I think we have to make like a regular function with a return. So in order to get cell, we'll take in like, let's say I and J, and or actually, to make it a bit more semantic, let's say row and column. Why is it screaming row is declared but its value? Okay. We'll say return board and row and column. Oops, what the fuck did I do? Column. So I'm pretty sure this is not going to work, but column. Let's see. It has to be a function. Alright. And let's get rid of the set for now. Let's just try with the get, and let's see if we're able to do anything with that. Console log this out for now. Can we console log board dot get cell and pass in, for example, I of 1 and J of 1. Boards get cell is not a function. Is it because we don't return it? Get cell. Row column. Maybe put a comma. A row is not defined. Maybe get rid of them. Cannot read properties of undefined. Get cell with row and column. Or actually, wait. Const get cell. Const get cell equals row column, and then we can do the arrow, and then we can do it like that. I think cannot read properties of undefined. What are we returning here? So without the function, board get cell is not a function. Why is board get cell not a function? Is it just get cell? Get cell is not defined. No, should be in board. Board.getCell is not a function. It's not a function. At 36, so right here, board.getCell. And what if we do just like that? Yeah, getCell is still not a function. If return so we've done the getCell the exact same way, basically without this check. Now I want to see how they're using it, because const game is game board, right? So for me it will be board. His console logging like board.getCell on the coordinates, which is exactly what I did, and it's telling me that getCell is not a function, although it's returning them in an object. Would that work? Yeah, it works. Sure. So can we actually return the thing was we wasn't returning all those like get board, getCell in an object. Console.work and return the board. Board.getBoard. But the function. Alright. And what if we try to board getCell? What if we try to we'll not be able to set it, right? Wait. We'll need the set cell for that, because we can only get the board and get the cell, but with the getCell information we cannot actually set it to a different thing. We don't have that functionality. So for const set cell, we are then again taking the can we take getCell as an input, or this will be a little bit too much? I think it will be a little too much. Let's do a row column and what to set it to, so we'll need marker as well. So this will be an arrow function again, and we'll return. What do we have to return actually? We just have to set board with row and column equal to marker. And do we have anything to return? I'm not sure. They did quite differently. Oh no, it's the same as we did. Yeah, and yeah, we don't return anything. So it's set cell as well. Const set cell, get cell, set cell. It's not defined. It's set cell, not cell. Okay, that should work now. And this way we can now get a cell, and we can actually go to board.setCell and we'll set it with 1 1, and then player1 dot mark. For the player, we'll need to be able to get their name and marker. Because this is not going to work. This is not going to work because we cannot access the player marker. So can we return, can we do name and marker? Alright, so we've actually put an O there, and this is working so far. If we put an X inside of here, as you can see, it's an X now, and we're able to successfully put a marker inside the Tic Tac Toe game, which is pretty good. I like this. Alright, so we can now set the cells. We lack the game logic, but that's fine. We'll figure out how to make it. Put mark, we don't need that. But as of right now, it's looking good in my opinion. These columns, do I use it anywhere? I don't think so. We can get rid of that. Okay, so we do have the array. What should we work on next? Let me read through this. Focus on getting a working game in the console. Alright, so a working game first. What Rizzi said is actually really smart, because he told us that Tic Tac Toe is just one big conditional. Just check the win condition on diagonals, columns and rows. So in order to end the game, there should be like 3 of the same symbols on a row, a column, or diagonally. So we can implement a logic to check the win conditions, and if any of the rows, if any row, column, or diagonal has 3 of the same symbols, it means the game is ended, and that symbol, that player with that symbol wins. Damn, you're getting good. I wouldn't say so. But right, so before we do that though, you shouldn't be able to put another marker on top of an existing one, because now if I copy that over, and do that again, but with player 2 marker. As you can see, we have the initial one. Why is that an O still? I'm not sure. I think that's something else. Wait, so we get the board first. That's strange, because the board gets like automatically updated. Because on the first instance, here on the board itself, it should be an O, but we don't see that, we see the X. When you console log the board, first, as you know, it should be actually empty. Then we set the cell, and then after that we get that cell that we've set. But the first instance, this should be empty. The second instance, here we should have an O, but instead we have the X on both of them that is only declared at the set cell here. So board.getBoard actually doesn't show us the current state. I did that in the DOM using buttons. Once the button is clicked, it is disabled, and the text on the button changes from nothing to X or an O. I did that in the DOM using buttons. Alright, sure. Once the button is clicked, then it's disabled. So we have to set like a state for the cell, and if we use set cell on that cell or that button that you did, we said it's like flag to disabled or something like that. But first, this is the thing that puzzles me a bit. Why are we getting the last state of the game board every time? I'm not sure. If we change the set cell here, if we remove that and save it, see, it's O every time, but it's O even before we set the cell. We first console log the board, and I don't think I really get that. I want to ask for an explanation, sorry about that. Can you tell me why in the console I always see... Let me copy the array. Can you actually copy object? Will that work? Even before I set the cell to X or O, I see the same board in the console. I'm not sure if it understood what I was asking, but the issue is not with the logic of the program, but with how JavaScript handles references to objects and arrays, and how console.walk function works in modern browsers or runtime environments like Node.js. Okay, so we have an explanation. I thought it's something silly like that, so that's why I asked it, because otherwise I would have looked at the game logic for quite a bit of time, not being able to figure out what happened exactly. But they're saying what's happening when you let me zoom this in a little bit so we can read it as well if you want. When you walk an object or an array in JavaScript, an example console walk board.getBoard, it doesn't walk the current state of the object array at the exact moment of the console walk call. Instead, it walks a reference to the object or array. If the array changes after the walk statement, but before you look at the console will reflect the updated state, not the state at the time of walking. This is why you see the updated board X even in walks that were placed before you updated the board. How to fix? To ensure you walk the state at the exact time, you need to walk a copy of the array instead of the array reference. You can do this by using json.stringify or by spreading the array into a new array. Updated game controller with accurate walking output. Alright, so we may do that while we're still working in the console, and then we'll see, we'll not need it in the browser probably. But what are they doing? json.stringify. So for each console walk of the board, they're doing json.stringify and then putting that into parentheses. And you're saying that should work now. json.stringify output. json.stringify serializes the array, capturing its state at the exact time it is called and doesn't rely on references. Alternatively, you can clone the array using map, using the dot map. I think this is kind of what they did in the other game examples. If you'd rather not use json.stringify, you can also log a shallow copy of the array. Let's see if that worked. So yeah, it I didn't quite work out. Well, why is that? No, actually it did. It did work out exactly as I said it the first time. So first you get the blank, you actually have to console log it one more time to see the difference. This time it's just that the markers are on top of the board and not at the bottom. The thing now is different, that keep grinding, brother. Zdrasti, благодаря. That's my brother in the chat. Let me give him the range. Where is the range? There you go. Okay, so right now you see the exact state, but it's a string, so it's all in the same row, and probably we'll have to use the map in order to get it like to the array again. So let's see how to do that. Board.getBoard map walks a shallow copy of the board. I wanted to explain this a little bit since I don't fully get it. Can you explain exactly how that works? Certainly, the code getBoard.map row and the dots row creates a shallow copy of the 2D array board at the time of the walk, ensuring what you see in the console is a snapshot of the board state and not a reference to the original array. Here is the detailed breakdown of how it works. So board.getBoard, this method returns the current state of board array, which is to the array, for example. Okay, dot map. The map function iterates over each row of the board array. It is used to create a new array by applying a transformation to each element in the original array. In this case, a row represents each subarrays. a row of the board as the map function. I'm mostly interested in the spread operator here at how this works. The spread operator is used to create a shallow copy of the row array. Here's what that does. The spread operator takes each element of the row array and places it in a new array. This ensures that the new array is independent from the original row array. Any changes made to the original row after this point will not affect the copied array. Alright. Sure, so let's try it with that. I'll return everything to what it was. And we get board.getBoard, you say .map. And then we take in a row and a row function. Oops. And a row to spread a row. I actually need 3 dots. Spread row, and that should be it. So I can copy this over to here and do it one more time here, and this way we should get actual like arrays, so it's easier to see. Yep. Alright, so that I'm now able to explain the point that I had, that we first have like a clean slate, a clean board, then we add our marker, but then we shouldn't be able to add a marker where another player has already added his, or if you added yours, we also have to add some sort of a check, and if that has an O or an X, we shouldn't be able to set the cell. So maybe it's somewhere in here, and if board will do row and column equals, and because we have only 2 options here, can we cannot do has value because it has a value of 0 at the beginning, but we can make it a little bit easier and not put 2 conditions, but say if it's not equal to 0, then we can skip this part and just return out of here. So let's try that now. There you go. So now we cannot actually do that, and we can maybe console.walk and say there's already a marker in this cell. So if we save that, and right here we try to set an X or the second player's marker to where there already is one, and once we try to do that, we say there's already a marker in this cell, so we cannot do it. So perfect, that makes sense. That's working now. And right, now I think we should make a function to play around, and play around should switch which player is currently choosing. So we actually don't even need to maybe we do, but instead of set cell with player 1 dot marker or player 2 dot marker, we can say current player dot marker. That will be a bit easier. but let's say for game controller we need to have a play around function. And do we have to, while we can make a game loop until game is concluded. We can maybe add a flag, so we can add a boolean and say, let's say, let game over equals false, and while game over is not true, we go inside of here, and at the end of it we should have some sort of check, which will be a separate function, which will be function check win, let's say. And check win will not take any parameters, but it should get the I'll delete these ones for now. Console walkboard get board. Oh, I made an infinite loop. Fuck. Maybe I crashed the browser. Right. I made an infinite loop. Oh shit. Let me comment this out. I'll probably have to stop the server and go live again. This one is dead. We've killed it. But anyways, alright, so we have the array now, and we make this game loop where inside will, or we can, outside of it, we can let current player, and we'll start with current player. I saw a function on how to like toggle between them, but I cannot think of it right now on top of my head, so just to have something in the beginning, we'll set it to player 1. Player 1 then needs to set its mark, so let's actually, before we do that, we have to have the check win at the end of the round, and inside of the check win we should get the board and loop through all the rows and columns, and also for the diagonals, and check for a winning combination. So let's think of how we're going to do that. For the rows and columns it will be a bit easier, but for the diagonal I'm not too sure. We have 2 diagonals, 3 rows and 3 columns, so in total what is that, 8 combinations that we have to check. That's alright. So we can check with current players mark, so we don't have to check for like board dot or actually row. So this will be like the dumb way of doing it. Equals like, let's say x or C and whoop through the rows, whoop through the columns. This will be like the autistic way of doing it, which is to check for both X's and O's. Actually, I think we should check if all of them are current player dot marker, because only the player that played his round last can win the game. So you cannot, for example, say you put your marker and the other player then has 3 and wins the game. The only possible way to win it is if you put your marker and you make 3. But you cannot put your marker and the other player like make 3. So it will be the current player that played his turn that we have to check for his marker. So we can do check win, and we'll go if, wait, maybe first do the loop for I. Do we have to do that actually? For I equals 3 we can do it. No, equals 0, sorry, and until I is less than 3 we can I post because we'll check for 3 rows and 3 columns. Then for the diagonal I'm not sure, but we'll do this later. So we can check each row like that. We can do board I equals, this also I feel stupid, but current player dot marker. Did we make, yeah, we can access the marker, okay, and then current player dot marker, and once again current player dot marker. I think this is really dumb as well, but I'm not sure how to do it at the moment. Not the terminal. I don't need a terminal. I need word wrap. So if any of the rows contains or is equal to 3 times current player's marker, that means he won the game, which then should set the let's put it in an if we can say this, or wait, but instead of board I, to do the columns, do we have to make a nested loop again? In order to get the columns. We can get the rows easily, but then after that, should we do I? I think this is it, because then it will be first or 0th rows column, and then first rows column, and third rows column. I think that's the case, but it's a degenerative statement. Let me say that. Then we actually do game over equals to for the diagonals. I have no idea how I can check them. It has to be row 0, column 0, then then it's row 1, column 1, and row 2, column 2. This will give us this diagonal, and to check the other one, we should check we should check 0, 2, 1, 1, and 2, 0. For the first one, I have an idea of wait. This one, maybe this one is how we can check. My brain is exploding. How do we check the column? Because this will be if board I, which will give us the row, that's okay. This will work, but for this I, this will be board, this will give us a single cell, not the 3 cells we need. For a column, can we actually, instead of doing that, can we use the get cell? Maybe this will be a little bit easier. Because the column, how are we going to check it? We have to say and put all this in like an array. I'm probably going too deep at this moment. For a column, we have to say row 0, column 0, row 1, column 0, and then row 2, column 0. Can we store the columns somehow? What is a way of getting a specific column, like column in column at index 2 with all of its 3 values? To extract a specific column from a 2D array like your board, you can use the map function to iterate over each row and collect the value of the desired column index. Here's how you do it. Board.map row the map function goes through each row of the board array. For each row, it accesses the element at column index and it adds it to a new array. Alright. The resulting array is the column at the specified index. Sure. Should we do a get column and get row methods on the game board? I think that would be useful, to be quite honest, because then here in the check win we don't have to bother with all of this, and we can just make an if, loop through the rows, loop through the columns. We can actually do one to get the diagonals as well. So let's try that. I don't know if that's the cleanest solution, but nonetheless, let's give it a try. Sudo const and get a row. This should be pretty easy. This will be just we don't have to. Let's actually move it up. Like right here. Sudo const get a row, and all the best, man. I think I've taken enough break. I need to go back to mine and figure it out. Until next time. Yes, for sure. Let's go, Supreme. I'm pumped for you, man. Definitely. Have a good one, brother, and you can show the results afterwards, maybe in the Discord. Thank you for tuning in, brother. I always appreciate you. So we'll just have to get board, and then we actually have to row and then get the row. So we have to input what row we need to get. And that works, right? Do we need this return? Can't we just do it like that? Will this work? Cannot read properties of undefined. I think we can do that actually. We don't need the return and all of that. But yeah, so this one should work, and we should actually return it as well. So after get board, we should have get row, and we'll now have get column. So const get column equals to, we'll get the column, this will be the column we need. Okay, and then we'll have board dot map, and for each row we'll do row dot actually row wait row column index. Get column bottom up. Yep, row and then column. Let's try to return it. This is for oops, sorry. Get column. Alright, so we have a way of getting the rows and the columns. Let's just test this. We do board dot get a row, we'll do I, and instead of this we'll just make board dot get column I. Let's comment this out as well, because we're not done with implementing the game loop and I don't want any more infinite loops. But it seems alright, I think. Now let's see. Function check win. Let's see how we're going to implement it. I'm not sure we want a while loop like that. I'm not sure what will happen if I save it. Let's try. Cannot read properties of undefined marker at line 55. Current player is because we don't set the current player. So current player. Write me a function to toggle current player between player 1 and player 2. Here is a function to toggle current player. Right, so yeah, this is what I meant. But now I want an explanation, because current player is a variable that holds the current active player. Initially it is set to player 1. So toggle player, this function toggles current player between player 1 and player 2 using a ternary operator. If current player is currently player 1, it switches to player 2 and vice versa. Alright, so current player, get current player, this function returns the current active player. Both get current player and toggle player are returned in an object so they can be accessed, blah blah blah. Sure. Create player toggle. So current player. let's try something. Let's set current player to player 1 for now, and then inside the while loop we'll have this, and the thing is, now if I start it, I feel like it's going to be an endless loop. Yep, there you go. Okay, so I have to figure some sort of way for JavaScript to wait for my input, and how do you make JS wait for input? Maybe we don't have to put it in a while loop. Prompt get input, waiting for an input from an HTML form. No JS example, using event listeners. Let's actually get rid of this while loop for now. We're going to try something else that I'm not sure what exactly at this point. Can we just play the game, and then after each set cell, can we then check win, use the check win function after each set cell? The thing is, we cannot like put check win inside of the set cell in game board, because it doesn't know what check win is. On the other hand, we're setting the cell in the game controller, so we're able to check win after we set the cell. But I want this to be done in the console and not in the code. Can we add listener for when a function is executed? Because if there is a way to add a listener when a given function is executed, we can check when after that. And it's saying in JavaScript there isn't a built-in way to directly listen for when a function is executed, but you can achieve similar behavior by using custom event dispatching, wrapping functions, or using proxy objects to intercept function calls. Below are a few different ways to listen for the execution of a function using event emitters. You can use custom events and event listener to listen for function execution. Here's how you can make a function that dispatches an event every time it's executed. Event emitter, dispatch event, new event, function executed. Create a simple event emitter. Wrapping functions. Oh shit. We've been streaming for a while, the light just died on me. What is this? Wrapping functions. Another approach is to wrap your function inside a higher order function that listens for its execution. I'm not sure about that. Using proxy to intercept function calls. How did he do it in the Tic Tac Toe game? In the Connect 4 game. I'm really curious because I don't think I'm going in the right direction at this point. Alright, let me check the script again. Is there a way to get rid of that? Game controller will be responsible for controlling so on and so forth. Player 1 name, player 2 name. We have a board, const players. Let active player is player 0, then const switch player turn. Console walk. Play around. Com. I don't get it. Return play around. So we have a play around feature. And play around, you just drop a token for the current player. This way we'll check for a winner. Switch player turn. Handle that logic. Print new round. Initial play game message. Play around. So in their case, play around takes in a column. So they have a game of Connect 4, and in their example, play around takes in a column because you can only choose a column in Connect 4. In Tic Tac Toe, you have to select a cell, basically, and game controller. Alright, I kind of get what they're doing. Play around is inside of the game controller. Okay, so instead of this game over, we'll leave it for now, but they use a function, actually a const play around. I wonder if checkpoint should be a const as well, but we'll leave it for that. We'll have a const of play around, which will take in it will take in like cell. We can say a cell because we'll be doing like game dot play around and then gets board get cell to say what cell we want, but for now let's leave it as cell. So we'll play around on cell, and this will be we'll print board. Print new round, play around. Yeah, we actually want play around. So dropping, so you just have to set cell. So you have to do board dot set cell with how did we do that again? Set cell. We set row, column, and marker. Okay. We'll do row, column, and marker. Set cell with play around with cell. Let's say set cell, and then we'll do cell, and then we'll say current player dot marker. And I know this is not going to work for now because setCell expects 3 parameters. We only give it 2. But we'll figure out a way to do it. Actually, for right, yeah, not sure. So we'll do play around, and then after that we need to switch the player. So let's make another function for switch player. They're saying switch player turn. Switch player turn, active player. Yeah, you're doing that in a const again. So const switch player, and we don't push anything into it. We will need like an arrow function, and then oops, that's not an arrow function. We only need this, I think. And that should do it, I think. So after we set the cell, we should switch player, and then check win. But actually, before we switch player, we should check win, and then we should play around once again. Is that the case? Is he calling the same function again? Play around, at the end print new round. Print new round. Print new round. So not play around. Board print board console walk. And that's interesting. We'll do it my way for now, see if we run into any errors. Probably, but yeah. Let's do again one for the, we do have the check win. Probably we'll have to do it as a const. Wait. I did something. Edit, redo. What did I do? So function check win. Can we just return if that's the case, and put a console walk, console.walk, and we say current player or actually let's do it with the backticks. We say current player won the game. Alright. So this will check only for rows and columns. But let's see. So now we're not calling play around. Wait. Yeah, so play around, we should not put this one here. Play around should actually take the current player, which it already has. Current player and just the cell. So we don't need the current player, yeah, just the cell. Alright, so we can do play around at, let's give it ing for now, since this will be easier to run, and I and then j, because this way we'll be able to set cell. Let's save it and try to play around. Actually, where is this console walk? After each played round, when we play around, after we switch the player, I think we should console walk again the board. Console, let me copy this one. Let's see how that works. I'm not sure it will work at all, but let's try. So we can play, what is it? Game dot player play around, and to give it like 1-1. This should be it, right? Cannot read properties of undefined reading play around, since we don't return this in the game. Alright, so for the game controller we should return play around. Let's try with this for now. I'll leave this for now, and then return play around. Okay, and if we do game dot play around, and to give it 1-1, see, play around is not a function. Game dot play around is not a function. Can we try again? Game dot play around is not a function. Alright, that's interesting. Should we return it in an object? I mean, wait, let's check this. I mean, it kind of worked. Then we got a type error, cannot read properties of undefined reading undefined at line 24. It went to line 34. So somewhere board row and column is undefined. Set cell. Let me try something else. Let's try 2. Right, so we can actually kind of play the game. We just get this cannot read properties of undefined. So what was the hack to there was a hack someone showed in last stream to not go over that if it's undefined. What was the way to not check a variable if it's undefined in JS? Type of, not type of, void 0. Someone showed it in one of the past streams. If every time I set cell, I get this. The errors you're encountering cannot predict the properties of undefined. Reading undefined suggests that you're trying to access a property or index at an array of board row column where either board or board row is undefined. This can happen if the board array hasn't been initialized correctly, or if a specific row in the board array doesn't exist when you're trying to access it. Here's how you can fix it. They're saying ensure board is initialized properly. Make sure that the board array is being initialized with 3 rows and 3 columns as you should be to the array. I think we're doing that fine. Check for proper initialization in set cell. After initializing the board property, the setCell function should work without issues, but to make sure there are no issues with out of bounds or undefined rows, add a check to verify that board rows exists. Alright, let's try this check. Let's see if that works. Where is it? Play around, set cell. Alright, let's try with that. But every time I'll get this, there is already a, I don't think this will work. Let's try. Oh shit. Kill it before it lays eggs. Why is that? Why did that run that many times? There's something wrong with my program. Maybe ask it a bit more generally. The issue seems to be related to the way you're referencing board.getRow and board.getColumn in the checkWin function, as well as how you're calling the play around function recursively. Okay. So key issues in your code: incorrect function calls in checkWin. You're not properly calling board.getRow and board.getColumn as functions. Instead of board.getRow, you should use board.getRow. Sure. What is that? In the checkWin, you're saying? Ah, yeah, indeed. So this is not correct. And also here. Oops. Alright. So now it still works the same way, but yeah, I don't know, the checkWin wouldn't have worked then. Now it should be working a little bit better. Recursion inside play around. You're calling play around incursively with itself, which will continue indefinitely. This will lead to a stack overflow error if not controlled. Instead, you should only invoke play around after the current round is completed by using an event listener or another game loop mechanic. Fixing the issues. Check for a win. Where is the play around? IJ. If game over, return. Okay. Set the cell. Okay, we set the cell. Check for a win. Switch player. So we should not add play around here. Wait. We don't have to add play around. We don't have to do that because we're doing that in here. Where is that undefined coming from? I'm not sure. Where is undefined coming from? Let's try to win the game. Let's try. So this is the O. We'll do 2 and 2. And the X doesn't matter. There is already a marker. So this will be the O again, right? So we'll do 1, actually 0 and 2. So we have a column that should be a win, but we don't see that console log current player won the game, so we're not quite there. And where am I getting this undefined from? Let me go to not elements, actually sources. I'll have to make this bigger and this smaller. Let's see what we can do. Can we put this on play around and then in the console? Game is not defined. We have to start it, sorry. Alright, but where is this undefined coming from? Play around. Alright, play around. So if we step through it, wait. I didn't see where that came from. Game play around, okay. No, I'm not sure where this undefined is coming from. Right. Well, guys, I'm not sure. My head is a mess at this point. We've been at it for more than 3 hours and a half, so I think I'm gonna call it quits for today. Let me just try to get out all not a Git repository. We have to cd into, what was it, Sitting to 3-hour stream monster, yeah. Tic Tac Toe JS. Yesterday I couldn't stream, so I told you I'm going to make it up to you, but yeah. I'll take a break for today. And no such file directory. Wow, where am I working? I'm working into repos directly. Ah? Oh, I fucked something. I messed something up. I'm pretty sure. Look, wait. Sitting to. Ah, yeah, I didn't do it. Wow, okay. Can I then clone the repository again? Cloning into Tic Tac Toe. Well, let me open up the Finder. What did I do? Recent. This Finder on iOS is, wow, on macOS I mean, it's so hard to work with. Like, I don't have this directory repos. I have to search for it. I have no idea where this directory is. I've already cloned Tic Tac, the authenticity, the key is not known, are you sure? Fatal could not read from remote repository denied. Write about where you got stuck before leaving, so come back tomorrow and read what you have done and what to do next. Experiences. Deep. Hi was. Sorry if I butchered your name, brother, but thank you so much. Indeed, it's like I already forgot what I got stuck with, so let's do that actually. I'm going to open up Chrome. So we were dealing with the undefined and not being able to check the game win. So after each play round, the console works undefined, which I don't know where it's coming from, and also check win doesn't work yet. Thank you so much for the tip, this is really useful. Now if I just can I think I'll have to follow the Git tutorial again from the Odin project. Wait. The setup Git macOS. I had to log in and so on. How to install Git, homebrew, how to configure. Alright, name and email, config. The Odin project git basics. Before you start, create the repository. GitHub. I need this one, setting up Git, macOS, install Git. I think I've done that, update Git, so let's do that. And it's also strange, maybe I haven't configured it, but I don't like how it switches the windows. So get this a little bit bigger if I could. Okay, that kind of works. So you have to do brew install git. Brew is not found, so what is that? First you need to install Homebrew. To install it, you need to make sure you meet the Homebrew macOS requirements. Once you meet the requirements, yep, I meet the requirements. Password, alright. How do I write this? Alright, that worked. Okay, return. And seems like I have this installed now, so I can do brew. Oops, it's still not finished. Brew install git. That's still not found. What the fuck? Brew. On Apple's Mac Silicon, you have an extra step to take. If you look at the terminal output after installing Homebrew, you see installation successful. Further down terminal, there will be section called next steps. Yup, I have this. Reading the terminal may seem a bit intimidating. Follow the next steps as it states in your terminal. Copy paste the commands given to add Homebrew to your path, which allows you to use brew command prefix. Run these commands in your terminal to add Homebrew to your path. Okay, we're just not reading. So I don't know if that worked. Eval, okay. So that should work now. Yep. Alright, we can run brew install git. Then after that, verify git. Git version. That works. Alright, so now we can finally probably clone the repository maybe. We should have it somewhere in here. Git clone, there you go. Please make sure you have correct access rights. Could not read from remote repository. SLGPT. How do I authenticate GitHub? Check if you have an SSH key already. Generate a new SSH. This is too complicated. Please make sure you have rights and the repository exists. I'm missing something. Add your SSH key to agent. I had configured Git on my old Linux installation. I am now using my Mac OS and I am a complete beginner. Please tell me how I can clone my GitHub repo as dumb as possible. No problem, install Git if you haven't already. I've done it. Okay, configure Git with your name and email. This is important for Git to track your commits properly. Run the following commands. They associate with your GitHub account. I don't know how it's my name in my GitHub account. How do I know that? It's Williswaf Angilov, I guess. Okay. So the first one maybe git config with my name, and this will be Williswaf Angilov, and then my email. This will be gmail.com. Okay, generate an SSH key, open terminal, run the following command. Alright, let me do that on the other monitor because I don't know how, if this is sensitive information or not. I'm not sure. Alright, enter file in which to save. When asked where to save the key, press enter to accept default. Enter passphrase. Alright. Sure, add the SSH key to the SSH agent. This is too complicated, guys. What the fuck is this? Identity added. Add the SSH key to GitHub. First, copy the SSH public key to your clipboard running. Okay. So this should be, now go to GitHub and log in. I'll do this on my other screen, guys, sorry. Click on the profile picture and then top right corner settings. Click new SSH key. And new SSH key. macOS key placed in here at SSH key. Password. I don't remember my password. Alright, there you go. I now have one. Give it okay, test the SSH connection. Let me test it. It's not found. Fuck it, let me try to clone the repository. I just want to clone the repository, that's all. Go into my repositories. What is it? Tic Tac Toe JS, SSH, copy, and then we can do git clone. Okay. You appear to have cloned an empty repository. For fuck's sake, it worked. Tic Tac Toe JS. It finally worked. Alright, we can code into it. What I'm going to do is I can actually just move those inside. Yeah, I'm going to do that. And then save it somehow. Save it. Okay, git add all, git status, git commit. The message will be, do I not enter the message here? Add an empty message. Add an empty message abort the commit, initial commit. Okay. Added the basic logic of the game. Still more to do. Is this not enough? How do I save it, bro? Ah, fuck it. I'm not doing that. Terminal, we're cding to repos and cding to Tic Tac Toe. Git status. Alright. Git commit dash m. We'll add the message here. Added basic game logic. Still more to do. Commit. I've written commit. Wait. Let me show you. Do you see that? Commit. Git commit. Alright, git push. I didn't expect that to be that hard, to be honest. Alright, I guess we can get rid of those, and let's check my GitHub, see if all the changes are there. 8k the developer started following me. That's, I think, my first follower. Thank you so much, Supreme Overlord. Your repositories. Okay, Tic Tac Toe. And there we have it. Alright, that was a pain in the ass. Thank you so much everyone who joined the stream today. I truly appreciate you. We've been at it for close to 4 hours. So yeah, I'm going to end it now. Appreciate all of you, as I said, and new stream tomorrow. Thank you so much. Bye bye.